Cucuy comes from?
He became something evil, un demonio, coming and finding ill-behaved children and then taking them into the night.
Don't be surprised if the Cucuy comes to you.
It's an absolute pleasure to meet you.
Such a pleasure to meet you too. Thank you for meeting with me.
Yeah, I mean, this film is spectacular.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, for just a little taste of what, this myth is and everything about it.
Yeah.
It's really amazing what you can pack into, 16 minutes, 15 minutes?
14.
Yeah, it's incredible. I was curious, to start talking to you about where did you come across the myth first? It's an old folklore from like Spanish times, like Portugal, Spain area.
That's where it
right?
started, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm curious, was it something that you grew up with in Cuba, or was it something that you had to research? Well, how did it come about with the myth?
Well, my mother's from Cuba, but my father is from Mexico, from Guadalajara.
Ah.
And so that boogeyman, El Cucuy, is very well known for that particular country. Now, my mother wouldn't know who that was, and there are other Latin American countries that don't know. They have other boogeymen. So that's why I told the story from the perspective of an Afro-Latina who did not know it. You know what I mean? Because we're all so different. And I did do some research. Most of the research was just to find out like what was out there about where his origins were, and it was pretty limited.
Yeah.
So I borrowed a little bit of the legend, but then I added my own, take on what makes us monsters.
I'm curious, because you're a short film expert. You've done a few, and I'm curious, was this the pitch you made to the fellowship, or was this something that you got the fellowship and you wanted to make this movie?
No, I pitched it to them. Yeah, and it was a fellowship that was sponsored by Netflix, and so they were very easy. They liked the story. There wasn't a lot of changes that they wanted to make on the script and so forth. So
that's awesome.
That's
always good when you don't get notes like that, right?
Yeah.
Especially from somebody you
have to listen to.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, what is it about the short film aspect of things that you enjoy? Because you've done 4 or 5, actually 6 of them now, I believe. So, what is it about that medium that really you gravitate toward and really love?
Well, it's a great place to practice.
Yeah.
It's a great place to learn about budgets. Most of the time, I'm, financing. Actually, CuyCuy was the first one I did not finance. So
that must have felt good.
It did. Well, I ended up financing anyways, but
I hear you.
But it's a good place to learn, and being on sets, even other people's sets, coming in as a PA, like all of that is just a great learning opportunity. And then, I think I've made just the right amount of films. I just shot a feature.
Oh, nice! Congratulations.
Thank you. But it was just a bunch of short films. In more days.
Nice. Yeah.
But I appreciate every single short film that I've made.
Yeah.
They're all special.
What do you feel like those experiences gave to this film?
I think knowing when you're an indie filmmaker and you kind of graduate to some money, then people want certain things because, there's money now, right?
Yeah.
And as an indie filmmaker, we don't have to spend that. So definitely I learned how to do things on no budget or a very low budget and make those dollars, really stretch.
Yeah.
How to manage your shots, how many shots are realistic. All of that stuff is things that you need to practice. How many shots can I actually get through as a director? I'm working with a new DP, how's that going to work? All of that stuff you have to take into account, and I think the short films are a great place to learn that. But they say it, and it's not untrue. Take your cell phone out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Take some of your actor friends and make a movie in your backyard. Edit it yourself. Put it together and practice. And because we don't, as directors, we don't have opportunities to really go just learn.
Yeah.
Just see what kind of director am I? I'm an actor's director, I'm a more technical director. All those things. So you can answer those questions for yourself and. Just it's time. It's those 10,000 hours,
And this film has some neat effects in it, has some opportunity to do those things. Were you kind of like salivating to kind of get the opportunity to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I've written the feature.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that somebody will want to pick that up. And there are some VFX that we just didn't have in the budget. That,
Sure.
I want to do them so bad. But the things that we did, I had a lot of fun. Like it was really cool to see it. What's in your mind to come out, on film. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'm wondering, the performances in this film are just spectacular.
Thank you.
And I'm wondering what they added to, because you, like you said, you prepped, you're ready to go, you know what you wanted to do, you know what shots you wanted to make. So what did they add to it that you didn't have going into the production and the moment that you started filming?
Oh my goodness. Well, love.
I love that.
Love. They had love for the project. It was definitely a passion project for many of them. Some innocence because there were so many children, and so they definitely brought innocence to the project. We had to make sure that we took care of them, that they weren't scared, brought them over so they can see the monster in makeup in a pre-test, so that they weren't scared. And
Yeah.
so all those things, so having the children there really was a way to bring that innocence that we needed on set. Dee, our lead, and Aubriella, the little girl, they bonded so, you would think they were daughter, and they looked like she looks more like her than her own mother.
Yeah.
And it was just, and we get to the end and, things happen and there's a lot of emotion there. Dee really was able to go there. And I really appreciated that. Same thing with El Cucuy. I love that character.
Yeah,
So much.
and that actor must have been really excited to don that and put that together.
He's a beautiful person. His name's David. He's a beautiful person. He's a superb actor. And it was really hard to see him as an evil person because he's just,
Yeah.
it's great.
Setting these shots up, it's very interesting the way that the concept is, because oftentimes you're bouncing off of each other with this telling the story aspect of it. You took an approach of kind of going a little bit wider and getting 2 shots in there. Talk a little bit about examining that and putting that together. I'm sure you did some close-ups and things like that, but why do you feel like that was more effective to tell the story than to do the close-ups or the cutaways?
Sure. Well, in the mansion, it was just so beautiful. You didn't want to go close because you wanted to see everything.
I could see that.
Stunning. I like close-ups.
Yeah.
In fact, DPs that I've worked with, they laugh because they're like, I know you want to do a close-up, So I like the tighter shots, but I think with horror, having the wider shot is better because it gives you some element of like what is in the shadow, what's behind. So it was really just a technique and studying, horror films and the way they shot it, similar to comedy.
Yeah.
Right? It was, and our lighting team, our DP, Ashton, and our lighting team were, I couldn't ask for better. They, exactly what I told them. I said, Jordan Peele.
Nice.
Go for Jordan Peele.
That's awesome.
And they gave me Jordan Peele. I was actually a little stunned when I saw the footage on, in the screen of how perfect it was from what we discussed. Yeah.
So you've kind of already alluded to this kind of as a proof of concept then for you, and kind of putting this into a feature.
Yeah, finished the script just in the nick of time, so I have it. I really was making a goal for myself to have it done. Like I said, I just wrapped a feature, and so then we got into pre-production, and it's been 2023 was busy.
I'm curious, are you looking to be I'm sure the Legend is going to be a part of that. Obviously I don't want to go into the script as it's not made yet, but I'm sure the Legend is going to be a part of it. Are you looking to maybe do it in a Mexico setting or a South American setting to kind of give it that authenticity a little bit?
That would be my dream. Interesting fact, I wanted to shoot some of it in Mexico just for the short.
Sure.
But obviously budget and this and that.
Yeah.
But the house that we shot in was built when California was still Mexico.
Yeah.
So it was really kind of cool. And the
Like one
man-
of those old mission-style houses, huh?
Well, it was a mission style, but then they built this grand, the property, the family has owned it since before United States took over. So he has got this flagpole in the front, and you don't really see it too clearly, but we were able to fly a Mexican flag there, and it was just, that was really special, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To know we were in Mexico, kind of, but yes, if we, when we, positive, when we do the feature, I definitely want to go back to Mexico and, do some, it'd be a dream to be able to shoot some of that in my dad's town.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, for anybody who's like out there looking at fellowships, what do you feel like is a good way to kind of get into this? I mean, obviously, this was a very designed fellowship for a very distinct amount of different filmmakers, and to get that diversity in the Latino community. But do you feel like did you learn from that process, and what maybe you could share with my audience about that process?
It's a numbers game.
Just like film festivals.
It's just a numbers game, and so network. You never know who you're going to meet that might know a person at the hey, such and such is submitting. Keep an eye out for whatever project or whatever. That is just the truth. I don't know that many people like to talk about that,
Yeah.
but it is the truth.
Yeah.
So it's an industry of who you know. Especially where you're working like a sustaining career, you know what I mean? The last thing you want to do is come home at 5 o'clock, get dressed, go back out, to downtown LA and beat the traffic and pay the $15 to get, to meet
And
people.
stand around a bunch of plastic people doing plastic things, right?
It's tough.
Yeah.
But we do it.
Yeah.
And we do it because, for every 20, you meet one.
Yep.
One
Yep.
that remembers your name, a person that will talk really good about you when
Yep.
you're not in the room.
Yep.
And, this last year in particular, I've really learned to be a little more guarded, be a little more, give relationships a little more time to figure out if this is something that we both want, you know what I mean? Because you're meeting people all the time, you're like, free for all, let's all be best friends, and that's not really the truth. So submit to everything is the first advice. And really get to know like what the fellowships are looking for.
Yeah.
Because it could say, the La Leaf Inclusion Fellowship, submit, but what are they looking for? What did the films that came before you, what did they have and stuff like that? So, but CuyCuy was written for that fellowship.
Yeah.
Like I really wanted to get into that. I can't even. I remember when I got the call, it was in a store and I was screaming at the top of my lungs.
That's an awesome
Yeah.
feeling. It must have been awesome.
Yeah.
So last question for you. What do you love about independent film? What keeps you making? I mean, you've grinded and made some films and done some shorts now, and now you're doing the features. So, what is it about independent film that keeps you coming back to it?
Oh my goodness, independent films are, you have some control.
Yeah.
To tell the story the way you want to tell it. Once you get into studios and stuff like that, and no knock, I love studio movies as well. Those are the dream, right? That's when you get all the money. But then there's other things that come along with that, So I feel like indie filmmaking is not necessarily pure, but there is an element of like raw film.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily doing it for how much money it's going to make at the box office or whatever. You may be making it for a Slamdance or a Sundance or a Cannes or whatever, that kind of thing. Different type of stories. A lot of them, speak to topics that are important to society, to communities, mental health, and so I think that's what I love about indie filmmaking.
You know what my mommy used to say? El cucuy se lleva a los niños que no obedecen.